Can mindfulness help to reduce temper tantrums? I think it can, and here's how. First of all, we need to realize that temper tantrums are not just for children, which is usually thought of to be the case, but temper tantrums also exist with adults. Now, how does mindfulness address these temper tantrums for children and adults? First of all, we need to realize that what's at the root of temper tantrums is fear. Fear is what's driving that temper tantrum. There's something there that the adult or the child is afraid of, and they're responding in such a way as to be a temper tantrum. Mindfulness addresses fear head on. The point of mindfulness is to create a sense of embodiment, to create a sense of connection with the body, the thoughts, the emotions, and the breath. When we're stuck in a fear mode, which is very, very prevalent nowadays, people go into the fight or flight mode and they get stuck there. They don't know it because they're disconnected, but they get stuck there. We disconnect in the fear mode because it's a protective mechanism. It's a great way for us to protect ourselves from what we're wired up to believe as something that might actually harm our chances for survival. It could be a death situation or just something that could result in pain and suffering. But we're hardwired to disconnect in that way to protect us from the discomfort of being in a situation like that when we go into fight or flight. So keeping in mind this natural tendency, this natural ability of ours to disconnect, which is a good thing in the short run, keeping that in mind, what mindfulness does is it actually reverses that. It takes those same four things that we disconnect from, the body, the thoughts, the emotions, and the breath, and it reconnects us to those same things. Mindfulness is not just paying attention, it's paying attention in a very particular way. And it's paying attention to those four things: the body, the breath, the thoughts, and the emotions. That's the core of the mindfulness practice. When that happens, it's as if the body senses that there's no more danger, so it takes us out of the fight or flight, the fear mode, and it brings us back into balance where fear is not driving us. Fear is not the prevalent emotion that's driving us. So it sets us up to be in balance, and it sets us up in such a way so that we're not geared toward temper tantrums, which is simply that expression of the fear. Now for adults, there's one additional way that we can approach reducing temper tantrums. Adults are good at recognizing patterns. And so what we can do as adults is recognize a pattern before it actually hits us. A pattern that will bring about that fight or flight response. If we see something like that coming on, we can intervene with mindfulness. Take a step back, actually see that there's a pattern starting to unfold, and before it unfolds, we can intervene with the mindfulness. That will short circuit the fear mode, which will also short circuit the possibility of having a temper tantrum. And so by practicing mindfulness, by coming out of that fear mode and taking away the driver for temper tantrums, both children and adults can very effectively reduce, if not eliminate, those temper tantrums.